You guys want to see a magic trick? Okay, fine then. Pick a card, any card. Actually, these are insoles. What's going on, guys? Josh from soccerreviewsforyou.com. If you follow any major club teams or even pro players on social media, specifically on Instagram, you'll find that a lot of these club teams, especially prior to matches, they'll make posts inside of the locker room showing off the players' kits as well as some of their equipment, specifically their boots. Generally, the boots are on the ground or at least sitting on a flat surface, and the picture is generally from a top-down view, which means you get to see inside of the boots, where very often they don't have any insoles. Why is that? Also, if you guys enjoy these types of videos and perhaps want to see more, don't forget to support this one with a like. And if you're new here watching for the first time, be sure to hit that subscribe button for daily videos on all the latest and greatest soccer gear, including more videos like this. Here's a few examples, starting off with Coutinho. Multiple pairs of Vapor 11s, none of which have any insoles, and you can see also in this picture that one of them has a hole cut out of the back, but that's a completely different story. Next, we have a top-down view of Dembélé's brand new Nike Mercurial Vapor 12 Elites, also with no insoles. Now, I realize that it's Volt Yellow, which the insole is actually the same color, but if you look closely, just as an example, here's an actual pair. See those 3 dots across the heel area? You can see those same 3 dots in the picture here. No insoles in Dembélé's boots. And keep in mind that this is just a couple of examples. Pay attention on social media whenever you see pictures of players' boots when they aren't wearing them. Very often you won't see any insoles at all. Now, for some reason you don't know what an insole is, basically if you buy any soccer cleat, there are a few exceptions of course where the insole is kind of built in, and on lower end shoes often the insole is fully glued in so you can't really remove it, but on higher end shoes, especially what pros are going to be wearing, the insole is going to be fully removable. So generally what comes with the shoe is pretty basic as far as the construction is concerned. Often it'll have a liner on top and it'll be made from a foam type material as a base. The type of foam will vary, the type of lining material will vary, but pretty much they all do the exact same thing. The reason why the insole is there is because the base of the shoe, basically what you're standing on top of, is a hard plastic. So they insert that little piece of foam just to take the edge off. It makes the shoes ultimately more comfortable, and sometimes they will play around with the liners to try and prevent some kind of slippage on the inside of the shoe. But that's basically all the stock insoles are meant to provide. So why don't the pros have the stock insoles in their boots? So basically the situation is this, and this is something that would vary from club to club, but I think you can assume that most clubs would have the equipment manager as well as the team doctors in charge of this, where basically these guys are trying to make sure that these players are as comfortable as possible and are in peak physical condition. They want to keep them injury free. So what they do is they get all these players set up with custom-made orthotic insoles for the extra support that quite simply you would not get from a regular stock insole. And consider this, most of these pro players, they're rotating through brand new boots all the time. They're all signing endorsement deals and they're having to wear the latest and greatest boots. So whether or not they actually want to change into new shoes, they're going to have to change into the latest colorway, and very likely they're going through 20, 30, 40, maybe even 50 pairs a season. And that's something that again is going to vary from player to player. However, they're probably only going to have 2 or 3 pairs of custom orthotics to use within that 50 pairs of boots that they go through. And considering that they're constantly traveling from the practice facility to the place where they're actually playing the games, whether it's a away game or a home game, often what you're seeing with these social media posts of the players' boots in the locker room with no insoles, it's simply because the insoles just haven't been put in yet, whether that's up to the equipment manager or whether the players themselves are in charge of doing that and swapping them from one pair to the next. Maybe they practice in a pair and then they pull the insoles out and put them in their game pair. That's something that again would be down to the discretion of the player. However, that's basically what's going on. These players are not playing without insoles. They just haven't put their custom insoles into the boots yet. Just to give you guys a real life example, I just got in these match worn boots from Memphis Depay. Obviously it's a custom variation of an Under Armour, and I will be making a video on these sooner rather than later, so subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on that. But you'll notice one big thing about the inside. There's no insoles that came with them, and that's simply because he would have got his custom boots. They might have come with stock insoles, but he pulled them out, threw them away, and uses his custom orthotics when he wears them. So I'm sure there's some of you guys wondering, what would the benefit be of a custom orthotic insole? Surely they must be good if pretty much every single pro player is using them. And really, I see it as 2 main benefits, one being comfort and 2 being support. And often a lot of people ask me, because I'm constantly reviewing all these different shoes, which shoes I feel offer the most amount of support. And honestly, when you're talking about soccer cleats, any support that you might get from a stock pair of soccer cleats, meaning you're not changing a single thing, is gonna come from the way that they fit your feet. Some, based on how well they fit or how poorly they fit, will offer more or less support. When it comes to arch support though, that's not something you're really getting from stock insoles from any shoe, period. I don't care which one you're talking about. And this is a stock insole pulled from a high-end Nike Mercurial. Again, it's a mesh liner on top, that really doesn't matter, but the insole itself is just a single layer of this foam material. It's very, very thin. The insole is completely flat. It's gonna be more flat once you stand on top of it. There's no arch support, there's no structure to it. You can basically just crumple it up and throw it away. So you're probably asking yourself, why don't some of these big brands, especially on their high-end products, include an insole that offers a little bit more structure, maybe a little bit more support than just a regular flat piece of foam? And the simple answer to that question is, one, it would be more expensive for them, which they're not looking to do. And two, I'm not sure that they would necessarily get more sales because of more support added to their product. It's not something that I think most people would care about whatsoever. These days, people are much more concerned about colors, the way the product looks. Those would be, I'd say, the two main factors. So for them to spend more money on the product to make it better quality, while that sounds like the right thing to do from a business standpoint, I'm not sure it makes the most amount of sense for them. Now, you could actually go the route of getting custom-made orthotics for yourself. You'd have to go see an orthopedic doctor. And to get custom insoles made, generally they either take a mold or even scan your foot depending on what process they're using at that particular facility. They get the insoles made, it generally takes a couple of weeks, but they can be quite pricey, anywhere between $100 and $400, even more expensive depending on exactly what you're getting. And often what I've found with a lot of custom orthotics, which I had a few pairs growing up as a kid, is that they can be very, very bulky and don't necessarily fit that well in most soccer cleats because the heel generally tends to be lifted a little bit, and they also tend to be very, very stiff. So depending on what cleats you have, they don't always work too well. So in order to get that extra support, I personally use these. This is a product by a company called Corexsole, their Active Pro model, which is designed specifically for use in soccer cleats. It's what I personally use. They retail for $50, so they're not exceptionally cheap, although they're a lot less expensive than custom orthotics would be. And you can get them in 3 different arch types. I have the high arch as an example here, but you can get it in a medium and a low as well. So you are getting that custom aspect to it to a certain extent. The benefit of something like this, aside from just being cheaper than custom-made orthotics, is one, they're gonna be a lot lower profile, which means that they're gonna fit in literally any soccer cleat at all, and two, they actually have a flexibility aspect to them, which is something you simply will not get from custom orthotics. This piece of plastic here in the middle is much more complex as far as the material is concerned than it looks. This has good flex to it, but still offers a level of support that you simply would not get from a regular pair of stock insoles. I really like them. I find them significantly more comfortable. And what you'll often find as well, whenever you use an insole like this in a regular pair of soccer cleats, when you go from stock insoles to these, you'll find that this helps to eliminate a lot of extra dead space on the inside of the shoes, as well as giving you that added support and therefore added comfort as well, if that's something that you feel like you need. If it's something that you think would benefit you, I would strongly recommend them. Again, $50 is not super, super cheap, but they're definitely a lot less expensive than custom ones. And if you are interested in a pair for yourself, there'll be a link to get them down below in the description, so be sure to check that out. Can you use your soccer cleats without any insoles at all? The simple answer to that question is yes. It's not necessarily going to harm the cleats themselves. However, it might hurt your feet. What a lot of people do in regards to removing the insoles, the logic behind it is because their shoes fit a little bit too tight. So if you take out that extra layer of padding, you've now increased the volume inside of the shoe, and they might be a little bit more comfortable for you. The thing to consider is that while they might feel more comfortable from just trying them on and maybe walking around, once you start running for 2 hours, having no padding between the bottom of your foot and a solid plastic sole plate base might be uncomfortable in the long run, especially if you're playing on a hard ground playing surface. It's not like a running shoe where if you remove the insole, there's still a foam base under you. If you remove the insole on a soccer cleat, you're basically standing directly on top of hard plastic. Sometimes that hard plastic can have a rough surface to it as well. So you can go ahead and try it if you really want to, but is it something that I would necessarily recommend doing? No, I'd probably leave the insoles in. Anyways, guys, I hope this clears up why we see pro boots without any insoles at all. It's simply because they have not put their custom insoles in them yet. Other than that, if you enjoyed the video, be sure to support it with a like. If you have any questions at all for me, feel free to leave them down below in the comments, and I'll do my best to get an answer out to you as soon as I possibly can. Subscribe if you haven't already for daily videos on all the latest and greatest soccer gear. You can find all my social media information linked down below in the description as well. And other than that, guys, hope you enjoyed the video. And as always, thanks for watching.